A while ago, I worked for a horrible organization. And I'm talking team leader, supervisor, manager. It was just pitiful. And you just keep your head down and you just keep cranking along. Well, the organization hired a new manager, not my direct manager, but she was a new manager. And she actually noticed me. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so surprising. As I would sit there at my desk and look around like, I can't believe this is happening. She started to invite me to different meetings, which opened up so much for me. I was able to explore, I was able to listen, and I was just able to engage with other people. It was so important to my career, but it was also important to my mental health that someone saw me, someone saw something in me that would help progress my career. And I just felt like, wow, there's another way to lead people. There's another way to manage people. And I will be forever grateful because she opened up my eyes to a totally different world. Today, we have someone else who's going to talk about leadership from an automotive perspective. It's going to be fascinating. So, welcome to Lead Like You Mean It, people. We welcome Brandon to the stage. Brandon, so great to have you here.
Hello,
Today,
Carla. Thanks
Brandon,
for having me.
of course. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Brandon Gregory is an entrepreneur and business leader with a global background spanning hospitality, events, and consumer advocacy. After launching successful ventures in Rome, including large scale brunch experiences, NFL events, we need to talk about the NFL events. I'm a big
Hmm.
NFL person. Okay. NFL events and nightlife productions. Brandon returned to the United States to help scale AutoSave4U nationwide. AutoScale4U is a consumer advocacy firm dedicated to protecting individuals and businesses in the automotive market. With a conflict free approach, the company focuses on negotiation, contract, structuring, and financial strategy to help clients avoid costly mistakes and long term debt. Brandon, I'm so glad to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, excited.
All right, all right. Okay, we're going to enter in our first question. So today's conversation is about leadership that protects people. Brandon's work sits at the intersection of business, finance, and advocacy. We're talking about what consumers don't know and what it's costing them, and how real leadership shows up when you choose to educate, protect, and serve people first. So, my first question for you, Brandon, is when you're in an industry where most people feel overwhelmed or even taken advantage of, what does leadership look like when your mission is to protect the consumer?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it comes down to ethics, morals, and transparency, especially
Mm,
when we're dealing with the market that we're in. It's a market that unfortunately is broken. You ask any
mm,
common person, and they're going to tell you a bad story or a horror story that they had to deal with when they were purchasing their next vehicle. So
yeah.
sometimes, leadership for me, it could be telling the consumer things they don't want to hear. Trust is truth, and trust is broken in the automobile industry. So that's what we build our foundation on. We have to report back to you and represent you. We do not work for the dealership. We do not take compensation from the dealership. We are only incentivized on what is best for you, the consumer. So what we do is we provide you all the information, whether it's on the vehicle itself or the numbers, what does the monthly payments look like, the contract, that sort of thing. We provide the transparency that you can't find it anywhere. You go online today, there's a lot of misinformation or keyboard warriors, but the
Yes.
difference is we've actually been in the trenches. My dad, Ezra, he's been in the automotive industry since 1988. Unfortunately, he knows where the bodies are buried and he knows the ways they steal money from the consumer. So
Mm.
that's why we are created. It is to create the balance and represent the consumer because they are greatly underserved.
I totally agree with you. And I said to you earlier about how I went through purchasing a car one time, and how they immediately went into, what's your monthly payment? And we swirled around this conversation. I eventually just walked out. And then as I was walking towards my car, the salesman's running, Miss Coates, Miss Coates. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? To me, it was comical to have a salesman run after me. But I was able to go back in and get the deal that I wanted and get the car that I wanted. But it's something how you say about trust, because I did lose trust at that point. I did lose trust. Talk to me about the brokenness of the car dealership world, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to be clear, we're not, sworn into the dealerships. Through the years, we have amazing relationships. There's tremendous salesmen and managers and dealers out there. That's what we want to do. We want to spotlight and work with them. But if we're talking in general terms, it's broken. You have a lot of things happening at the same time. Dealerships are under immense pressure. That falls on the salespeople as well. They have to earn a living. The average person working in a dealership is only going to be about 30 to 40 days. It's not like it was in the past. Two things are either happening. When they go into the dealership, they don't have time to be trained properly. And when I say trained, I mean they don't know the product. They don't know the manufacturer, all the different models, the bells and whistles those vehicles have. But contracting, they don't even know how to draft a leasing contract properly. So that's why usually when you walk into a dealership, right away it's cookie cutter. It's, hey, let's get you in a 72-month financing contract. When someone comes out with a worksheet and numbers on the vehicle you're looking to buy, automatically by default, you're set up for a financing contract. Now, there's disconnect between the dealership and understanding the client. What are your goals with this vehicle? How long are you going to have it for? How many miles are you driving a year? How much money from $0 to $10,000 do you have at your disposal for a down payment? And last but not least, what is your monthly budget? What are your financial goals? These are personal questions that are basically the foundation of how to structure the contract, and they're simply not getting it. That's how we come in and we work with our clients. We want to understand you, what your goals are, because when we put you in a contract, it shouldn't be stressing you out, keeping you up at night. And finally, here's another question. What about structuring the contract so that if something goes south, an engine light comes on, flat tire, God forbid you get into an accident, who do you talk to at that point? Most often, once you drive away with your new vehicle, something happens with the car, you pick up the phone to call your dealership or your trusty salesperson, and they simply don't answer the phone. They are too focused on the next deal. And the other group of people that don't make it in the car dealership, they just quit because they either don't make the income, they're not making the sales, or they just see how it is and they can't stomach it, so they decide to quit. Very, very toxic. They're fighting with each other on the floor for the client, but also you have the service department and the sales department bumping heads. They don't like each other either. So we also serve as a buffer when things go south. We need to get contact with a service team to get your car in and out. But like I said, very, very toxic, volatile market.
That's so interesting, because what you have explained is what I have observed. I remember purchasing a car. I mean, I've purchased numbers of cars over the years. But I told them, I said, I'm looking for this car. I want you all to get it. This is my color. I love a V6. I have to have a V6. I mean, if I can't get a V6, I don't want it. So, and I told them, I said, this is exactly what I wanted. And then they provided the car. And then I said, well, mechanically, what if whatever happens? I can't remember exactly what I asked. But I said, what if something happens? And the salesman's face just dropped because he didn't know what to say. And I thought, he said, oh, well, just talk to the parts people, or not the parts people, but the service department. Just talk to the service department. And I felt like, it would have been great for you to help me a little bit further, understanding you're not a mechanic. I get that. But it's something that you're
You
saying
turn
because
into a hot potato. You're a hot potato. They just pass. Once the deal's
yes,
done, you're the hot potato. You just get passed around.
yes, yes, yes. But it sounds like what you all are, and I think you said the word a prior another time when we met. You're like a concierge service.
Yeah. We're like a consultant, kind of like a lawyer on
Yeah,
your behalf in a way, because again, not incentivized by the dealership. We build great
yeah,
relationships with them. We want them to succeed, but ethically. We want to
yeah.
do what's right for the consumer. Because right now, Carla, believe it or not, we're facing a crisis right now, and I'm trying to sound
Mm.
the alarm. It's not on the news.
Mm-hmm,
Nobody's
mm-hmm.
talking about it. I'll just
Okay.
share this. 2023, around 1.3 million vehicles repossessed. 2024, that number grew to 1.7 million vehicles repossessed. In 2025, nearly 3 million vehicles were repossessed. And right now in 2026, we're on track to exceed 3 million vehicle repossessions. Why is that happening? And this isn't just individuals, these are business owners too. Now, we
Uh-huh.
can sit here and we can blame the economy all we want, right? We're all feeling the
Mhm.
pinch. We're feeling that change and that stress. But I point it towards poor contracting, not understanding and not having truthful conversations between the dealer and the consumer. You have three things in front of you: your rent or your home mortgage,
Mhm.
grocery bills, your
Mhm.
car payment. For a lot of reasons I can get into, the car monthly payments have been increasing year after year, and it's not following the same trajectory as how much income we're bringing in. So
Yes.
when things change, we're stressed out. We're looking at those three bills: home mortgage or rent, grocery bill, car payment. Which one's going to get axed first? People are literally picking up the phone, heartbreaking, and they're saying, come repossess my vehicle. I can't make these payments anymore. That breaks my heart, because that's 3 million people AutoSave4U could have helped, because there can be off ramps. The main
Right.
thing of what we want to do is provide off ramps by structuring the contract correctly. But if there is people that, they didn't know about us, we hear that all the time. If only I knew
Mhm.
you sooner. But we get
Right.
clients all the time that are stressed out, whether it's a leasing contract or financing contract. We can help them offset that hurt and that pain as much as possible and get them out of bad contracting. So this is a terrible crisis we're facing. Right now we're at one point Right now, we're at 1.65 trillion auto loan bubble. That bubble's about to pop. That is way too much debt that's out there hanging over people's heads in their
Wow.
automobiles. So we're actually facing a collapse right now in the automobile market.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, you don't hear anything like that on the news. And could that could that be the one of the reasons why so many I've heard so many people have these huge monthly payments. I mean, I was just so surprised at one point a couple of years ago when it started to go up to 6 years. I'm thinking, I am in the mindset that, oh, 5 years, 5 years, then 6 years, then seven
Yep,
years, $1,000 per month for a regular car, and it could go
yep,
up to 10 years. Could that
yep.
add to this?
Yep. So what's happening is we're kind of burning the candle at both ends, right? So
Okay.
right now, the new vehicle purchase national average is a little over $50,000, right?
Uh-huh.
We have COVID taking place, which disrupted inventory. So that actually inflated the used car market. So two things are happening. People think that they can't afford a new vehicle because the payment's too high, the overall cost is too high, so they try to go used. Then they get sticker shock when they find out, because now you got to sprinkle in the banks. Interest rates on used car vehicles are generally higher. So when you
Yeah.
compare a used car monthly payment to a new car, they're almost identical. So that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And right
Mm-hmm.
now you have a national new car monthly payment anywhere between as low as $800 to $1,100, especially if you're a business owner and you need to get a new truck.
Yeah.
Trucks are supposed to be a dependable vehicle tool that people can use to fuel their business. They can't believe how high those prices are getting. But here's what's the problem. You sit there in the office, the salesperson comes out, shows you what the monthly payment numbers look like. You're suffering sticker shock and you're saying, oh my God, I can't afford this. Okay, don't worry, I'm your friend. Let me help you. They're now taking those usually 60-month or 72-month financing contracts, and they're stretching it. They're
Wow.
stretching it, 80 months, 90 months and beyond, because they need to lower that monthly payment. But why is that a problem? The reason why it's a problem is because when you have the value of your vehicle, you have your contract, you're stretching it, so interest is also included in that. You gotta add warranties. You have to add all these other things into the contract. So now there's a huge gap between what you owe on the vehicle and what it's worth, which brings me to this point. Right now, whether you have a traditional financing contract or leasing contract, the national average is $7,000 of negative equity sitting in it. Everybody right now is driving a vehicle right now, and most likely they're holding on to negative equity. And here's what's astonishing. 1 out of 5 of those car loan holders has an excess of $10,000 of negative equity.
Wow.
When you try to sell your vehicle privately or trade it in, guess what, Carla? You have to address that negative equity. What are you going to do? It's the elephant in the room. So what the car dealerships are trying to do is they say, hey, don't worry, I'll get you a new vehicle. We'll just take that ball of negative equity, roll it into your new contract. But the problem is that continues to inflate pricing, and it only kicks the can down the road.
Okay, so I don't know what to say, Brandon, because it totally makes sense. I mean, you said that you used the word bubble. I mean, it's just growing. You're talking about the negative equity, and you're talking about, no, I'm going to extend the loan, the life of the loan, in order to get that price, that monthly payment down to what you can afford. Gosh, it's overwhelming. I never even thought about, of course, I wouldn't think about it, but the negative equity, I wouldn't take that into consideration. That's incredible. Okay.
Yep.
I could literally stop the podcast right now, because I just, that blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to sound doom and gloom, but again,
No, it's not.
sometimes we have to tell clients what they don't want to hear, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of gently telling you the news. I haven't even spoke about warranties. As you stretch out the length of the loan, well, when does the factory warranty end? It's typically only 3 years, 36,000 miles, whatever comes first. So now people, it breaks my heart, they're paying for vehicles that are now unprotected. They have no warranty. So now it's a liability. People are going to bed at night saying, oh my God, I hope when I wake up tomorrow and go to work, my car starts, because I don't have coverage. If it breaks down, I'm on the hook for my continuing payments, and I got to pay for repairs.
Yeah. And what you're doing is you're educating us. I mean, really, you're educating the consumer. I'm a consumer. So it's just, it's incredible. Wow. All right, let's shift to your dad. So I like to hear how this all started with your dad, what he went through and how he built this. Then of course with you. So talk to us about your dad.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be here in the automotive world if it wasn't for him. I never worked at a car dealership. Everything I've learned through him. He's been in the car world since 1988. He managed his own dealerships, everybody from Jeep to Acura to Harley-Davidson motorcycles. And what he would do is he teach salesmen and managers, the F&I managers, that stands for finance and insurance. They're the people you sign on the dotted line with. He would teach and train everybody how traditional leasing contracts work and how financing contracts work. He would travel around the country. His region was New England. So we're originally from Massachusetts. Then at one point we were up in Vermont. So I remember being a kid, my dad would travel a lot of times out of state. He would cover, New England region, all the way down to, I think, Connecticut, maybe New Jersey, Pennsylvania, up to Maine. And he would go around, show them how, contracting works. But he had the unpleasant task of seeing how, where the bodies were buried by the dealership and the ways that they would either steal or hide monies from the consumer. So fast forward to spring of 1998, he couldn't take it anymore. So due to ethics and morals, he decided to go across the table, so to speak, and now represent the consumer. So AutoSave4U started as a hobby job for friends and family. Fast forward to 2013, 2014, my father Ezra moved and relocated down to Virginia, Northern Virginia. And at the time he was working in mortgages, and just organically it really started to explode to where AutoSave4U has grown into an all-out business, as what it is today. And then I had my time as a student, then as an entrepreneur. I was living in Rome, Italy, started my own adventures there. I came back and I was living in Baltimore, working in the financial services world, until finally my dad said, in my ear over the years, come work for me. Let's build this thing together. I can teach you, show you how it works. So finally in January 2023, we had a great conversation and I decided to go all in. I moved from Baltimore to Virginia and joined forces with my dad. So very, very proud of what he started, what he built. I think we're on a mission. We're not building a company. We're actually building a whole industry where we need to represent the consumer. The two biggest purchases you make in your life is, number one, a home, number two, an automobile. Since 1913, 1916, coming out of Chicago, we had the term realtor or real estate agent was born. It is now common practice when you purchase, rent, or buy a home, what do? You call up a real estate agent because they're the experts. They know the contracting, how to handle your money, what to look for, how to inspect the home. Is there a crack in the foundation? Is there any leaks or damages, right? They want to be sure you're not having fraud done onto you or mishandling contracts. Nobody like that exists today in the automotive world. We are not car brokers. I can't beat that drum loud enough. Car brokers are the middle person between you and the dealer. They are incentivized to maximize dealer profits. We're not that. We do everything top to bottom. And finally, what my dad built is this. When you drive away with your vehicle, that's when our relationship really begins. We keep your contracts and warranties on file. So when you have that flat tire, engine light comes on, God forbid, get into an accident, we are making sure the dealerships, service departments, insurance companies, whoever it may be, the warranty companies, are holding up their end of the bargain so that you, the consumer, and the client are protected.
That's heavy duty, because that's when you purchase the vehicle, that's when it basically ends with the dealership, unless you get your car maintenance there. But still, you don't deal with, I would call them the front line. You don't deal with the salesman, the general manager, anyone. You just deal with service department, and if you desire to purchase some parts from them, but that's it. But to hear that you guys expand that, and then your role is really to help the consumer afterwards, that's pretty powerful. Tell me, before we move on to another question, tell me, other than the business, from a father to son relationship, what have you learned about leadership from your dad?
Oh, I learned a lot. I learned a lot on my own, being a foreigner in Italy and building businesses on my own, but I literally didn't know anything coming in. I just remember being a kid, being at the dealership, not really fully understanding what my dad was doing. I just thought it was cool that he was always driving a new car and everyone in town knew who my dad was. So what I learned most from him, I guess it would be understanding how to serve the clients, serve the customers, the consumers, looking out for their best interest. I would say the number one thing about my dad is he's like the brain surgeon. He's the engineer. He knows the contracts upside down, front to back. Dealerships cannot get anything past him. So he has so much knowledge that I'm just trying to absorb every day like a sponge. And the reason why that's so critical is because knowing what my dad knows, that's how you can best serve your clients and the consumer. You need to be the expert. You have to be the person in the room, because when the client is sitting with us in the manager's office, it's like you can see the weight lifted off their chest. When they talk to us after, even husbands especially, because, you know, there might be an ego thing. A husband might say, well, why do we got to go pay someone money or hire someone to do our deals? At the end, it's the husbands that have the biggest smiles, because, you know, the wife is usually right. But it's the husbands who say, you know, I had a lot of doubts going in. I didn't understand the purpose. Watching the magic you performed in that office, not only how much you saved, because it's not always about the savings and the negotiations on the money side, it's protecting us. I now can sleep at night knowing that we got a great vehicle. If anything happens, that liability and stress isn't on us. It's going to make so much better our lives and daily living. Thank you so much. I'm going to tell everybody about you. That all comes from Ezra's knowledge of how to structure the contract, but also my dad knows these vehicles. My dad personally knows these manufacturers. He knows how they work. So with that knowledge, we can help guide and tailor fit our clients what is the best fit for you, your family, or your business.
Wow. Wow. What a dad. That's incredible. I mean, just to be able to look out for the consumer is powerful, because, you know, people are in business and they want to take care of the bottom line. But that also, what your dad is doing and what he has really impacted you with, is what I believe for my business. I learned this. I say this consistently. I learned this, my mantra, from one of my employees years ago. If you take care of the people will take care of your mission. So as far as if you're leading people, you got to be able to take care of them. It's not treating them like they're children, but it's being responsible. It's being respectful of another person on the team.
Yes.
And once you do that, they'll take care of everything else. It has proved itself to be true so many times. So in your all's case, you take care of the consumer. It is just, it's pretty powerful, pretty powerful. Let me ask you one last question. We're getting to the bottom of the time here. For leaders and entrepreneurs watching, what does it look like to build a business that truly puts people first instead of profit first?
Serving a higher purpose. You know, even the world's most wealthy have depression, addiction, and lack of happiness and fulfillment. You got to ask yourself a couple of questions. Am I useful? Am I adding value to people's lives? And serving a purpose is the main priority. Happiness, you know, financial prosperity, the money, all of that will automatically come guaranteed if you're answering those questions. So when I come into AutoSave4U, I am excited. I am eating, sleeping, breathing AutoSave4U. We're a new company. We're growing. Like I mentioned, there's 3 million vehicles that are repossessed. I think about that every morning. Wow. I need to get the message out that we exist, because so many times when I go somewhere, I do a keynote or I'm talking to other business owners or individuals, what do I always hear? If only I heard about you 2 weeks ago. I just bought a vehicle, right? So with that being said, serving a purpose and am I being useful? If you ask yourself those questions as an entrepreneur, you follow that direction, serving a higher purpose, not yourself, you're going to be happy. And the money is going to come after automatically. You don't even have to think about the money. Just think about being a good person and following your own ethics and moral code.
Oh, fantastic. Before we close, Brandon, I've got to ask you about this NFL. Okay, so I'm a Commanders fan. I always say I'm really a Redskins fan, but hey, they changed the name. So Washington through and through. What is my line? Burgundy and gold until I'm cold. So talk to me about your NFL life.
Yeah, so a couple of things. So when I was in Rome, one of the first businesses I started was NFL Sundays, because I noticed there's over 36 American universities in Rome. Wow. You have the military, right? Yep. You have service members in Rome, but also in Napoli. There's a big military base in Napoli. There's an Air Force in Sicily. And then you have people coming through during the week, just traveling. So I created a space where I was hosting NFL Sundays where we could watch all the games together, kind of build our own community. And then that grew into my NFL Super Bowl parties that are still going on today. So we just had our 16th annual Super Bowl party in Rome. And then fast forward, building what I built in Rome, I'd come across a lot of athletes and celebrities wanting to catch a game or do something fun like that. So I started to cater to them, provide, you want to go shopping, you want to eat somewhere nice, you want to be private. I built that. And then when I was down in Baltimore, I was working for Thompson Financial Group. Of my time there, I was working in inner city churches. So I was traveling between Baltimore to Atlanta, Southern Virginia, talking to churches. And I had the privilege to work with the unbelievable person. I cannot say more than enough amazing things about him, Sean Alexander. Former NFL MVP. I think he still has the rushing records at Alabama, went to the Super Bowl with the Seahawks, finished his career with your beloved Redskins, now the Commanders. But I got to work with him in the inner city churches, talking about faith-based financing, how to put structured financial planning above material things. And that guy really walks the walk. He's an amazing person.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, Brandon, we're at the end. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for educating us. I guess as I said earlier, I could have ended the podcast halfway through because you truly, sincerely, you did educate us. You opened up our minds about the automobile industry. And also appreciate what your father, Ezra, has instilled in you about taking care of this consumer. It's just very beneficial. And it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a care, not a care meaning that I'm gonna treat you like a child, but it's a respectful care towards the consumer that I appreciate.
Yep. And anyone listening, if you guys want, feel free to, give us a call, contact me on LinkedIn, Instagram, check out our website. You can just look up AutoSave4U. We would love to give anybody a free consultation phone call. The worst that can happen is you get better car knowledge and you're better prepared before you step into a dealership. So we'd be happy to help the community.
Absolutely. And Connie, our producer, she can place that information in the comments to support. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. Thank you for the education. Thank you for the respectful care. Everyone else, we'll see you shortly. We'll see you in 2 weeks on Lead Like You Mean It, people. We're out of here. Have a good day.